Hello and welcome to Marital Issues, a podcast in which a married couple discuss their favourite comics and movies and TV shows. I am your host Tom, and with me, as always, and feeling a little better this week, is Dee.
Hello! I kind of have my voice back.
It's funny, as soon as I hit record I suddenly realise there's bits that are just uncomfortable. My t-shirt's bunched up on my back and stuff.
But that's always the way.
My headphone wire keeps hooking. Yeah, you're a lot louder than me.
Yeah, but that's just my whole disposition anyway.
Yeah, that's why I let you do, when we're out in public, I let you do all the talking. In these kind of environments, I'm the sort of the more comfortable one.
Totally.
But when it comes to actually dealing with people in real life, I just let you do all the talking. Yeah,
this is true. I'm the more sociable one in that regard.
Yeah, you're the more sociable one, but you're also the more can tolerate people one.
Yeah, that's true as well. But I kind of know how to hold them back a little bit. Without actually holding them back, I can hold them back.
Yeah, if someone says something a little bit awkward or a little bit kind of intrusive, you have a way of really politely shutting them down without actually making it seem like you're shutting them down. I just kind of I'm just like, cool, that was a bit of an intrusive question. You remember when I had my neck brace on?
Oh yeah.
Now I work in the shared office. Yeah, just lots of people we don't know always around us, and this guy was just like, oh, so what happened to your neck? I'm like, I'm sorry, who are you? Why are you being so... I was like, because I don't even know who you are, and you're asking me these really personal questions about my health.
Take me out for a drink first.
Yeah, you've had all these months of us working pretty much on the same floor, crossing each other's paths almost every day to kind of talk to me and invite yourself into my life. But, you pick my most vulnerable moment to do it.
But do you see that's part of the human condition?
Yeah, it's about power dynamics.
Yeah, it is power dynamics.
But still, I know if you were there, you would have handled him a lot better than I did. I was just back off, man. I don't know you.
In my head, I probably think, it was nice of him to ask. I don't know him, but it was nice.
Exactly. Because you always see the best in people, and I'm just always looking for.
You're just a grumpy bastard.
I'm a grumpy bastard because I'm always expecting people to screw me over.
Yeah, but okay. Fair enough.
I'm jaded.
You are.
I'm jaded.
You are. So this week you've had off, haven't you?
I've been off all week.
Yeah.
And I've been off all week as well. I've just had my grump on all week.
Until yesterday.
No, until the day before yesterday.
Okay.
But yeah, I've had the week off and dropped Xavier off at school.
Which must have been nice. It's good for him. He
was late every day because because I was the one taking him to school. And it was never extraordinarily late. It was always a minute late.
Yeah, because they close the doors on the dot when
they the first time I was late, I had to take him to reception. But the second time I was late, they were literally closing the gate at that moment.
Oh, no.
So they let him through the gate, but the classroom door was closed. Oh. And so he's knocking on the door. I had to stand in the car park and watch. And he's knock, knock, knock. But you know how quietly he knocks? Yeah. He doesn't know how to rap on a door. He's
oh, poor little guy.
So small. Oh. He looks, in situations like that. I look at him and I'm like, you're so grown up.
Yeah.
And in moments like that, I'm like, you're so small.
He's only 6.
Yeah.
He's a cutie. Well, yeah. He's a cutie. I'll keep it at that, shall we?
So anyways, let's talk nerdy stuff.
All right.
We've got quite a lot to get through tonight, so let's move on. So first thing I want to talk about is the trailer for a film called Gemini Man.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Will Smith.
Yeah, or Fresh Prince versus Not So Fresh Prince. So Gemini Man, it looks like it's going to be Will Smith versus Will Smith,
yes.
But today Will Smith versus Fresh Prince era Will
it's
Smith.
Obviously, in the trailer, it's obvious. It's a clone movie.
So what we have is it's a cat and mouse story, a 25-year-old clone of a much older...
40-year-old.
50-year-old assassin dudes.
That this organisation has kind of taken upon themselves to make the younger one kill the older one. Yeah. Which seems to be the premise.
And it's directed by Ang Lee.
Yes.
Now, Ang Lee's filmography is just becoming more and more eclectic. He's done his kind of his Brokeback Mountains and his Hulk and things like that. So he's really kind of, it's just sort of like adding to his resume.
His repertoire, repertoire.
And what was it, Life of Pi?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. Although I haven't seen Life of Pi.
Now apparently Ang Lee treats actors like just moving props.
Right,
like he doesn't like really deal with them like people. He talks to them like they are props. So I wonder if like Will Smith put up with that, because he's Will Smith, you know.
Yeah.
He was at one point, he was Mr. 4th of July. Mm-hmm. And it's nice to see him doing like a big action movie again. It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been. I think it has been.
When was the last time he did like a big action movie? Because he's been going for like the more sort of like, I don't know, it's like...
He's trying to dip his feet into the more...
Well, he's looking for that Oscar, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, definitely.
Because he was nominated for Ali.
Yes.
And it looks like for the last few years, it looks like he's been looking for that Oscar.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's been very much character-driven, the stories he's gone after.
Like Concussion, Pursuit of Happiness, and things like that. When was the last... Because this is very much... I was getting like serious iRobot vibes off of this trailer. It feels like it's been a while since he's done something like this.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with you.
I thought the baby was crying for a second there. We didn't bring the monitor in, but he's only in the next room. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that... there he is.
It is him. All right. Baby break. You think we can do it this time?
Yes, definitely. Let's go.
All right. So I can't even remember. I was saying something about Philip.
iRobot.
iRobot vibes.
Yeah.
But then while you were dealing with the baby, I was reading a thing about a tweet by John Scalzi.
Oh yeah.
About Philip K. Dick, and I just lost my train of thought. So.
All right. Well, we're talking about Will Smith.
But yeah, I'm interested to see this one. Do you think it's going to be a cinema one or an on-demand one?
Cinema one.
You think it would be a cinema one for us?
Yeah. Although watching it on demand might actually bring it to a... it might feel a bit more intimate to watch a movie like that. Well, it's not about that.
You see, the thing is, I think in a way comic book movies have ruined me.
Yeah.
Because, like, 10 years ago or whatever, a movie like that probably would have drawn me to the cinema.
Yeah, okay.
A Will Smith movie would have... I mean, I went to see Hancock at the cinema. That was... 2008, that was my level of film-going sort of glee, you know, when it came to, like BS popcorn movies. But superhero movies have kind of ruined me now, because I find like if it's not like a spectacular action movie, they can look pretty generic without the superheroes. And there are some moments in there that look very generic, and there's some other moments that like, especially like the one that's like motorbike fights where they're throwing motorbikes at each other. You know? Beyond that, it looks like a pretty generic action movie.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I can see your point, but I'd like to see something like that in the cinema. I mean, the change... You
want to see Will Smith cry on the big screen? Because he does the kind of like sort of the trembling tears quite well, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah. He's a master.
He's the master of the trembling tear.
But, it'd be good to also see how far... I mean... Avengers have done it very well, but it would be good to see how they use that technology.
The de-aging thing.
Yeah, the de-aging thing. Because the very first part of the trailer, I didn't catch it until you said it. Yeah. But I first thought, hold on, that just looks really weird. And I couldn't figure out why it looked weird.
Well, first time I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, it's Will Smith. And I just carried on. And it was only when they were side by side, I was like, oh shit, that's young Will Smith.
When you told me it was young Will Smith, I thought, oh yeah.
He didn't have like the wobbly face or anything like that. It's gotten really good.
It has got better. Yeah. Definitely got better. It still does weird things to my brain. Because I know how old they are and what they should look like. And seeing them, a younger version of themselves.
I think that's it, isn't it? That's where the uncanny valley... kind of
because it's
with living actors who are being de-aged, it's more that your brain has trouble making the connection than it looks weird. It's like because your brain consciously knows that's that person's not actually that young. But then when you go back and watch old stuff, you're like, oh, that's when they were young.
Because it's a new thing.
Remember Nick Fury in Captain Marvel? Remember, he didn't. Samuel Jackson didn't do that to me. I was just on board with it. I didn't need to connect.
Yeah. But Samuel Jackson hasn't actually aged too badly, if you think of it that way.
No, he's just gone bald.
He's just gone bald.
He's just gone bald, and he's got like some jowls.
Yeah. But that's it. I mean, he still looks the same as he did 20, 30 years ago.
Okay, so we'll go see Gemini Man then.
Yeah, I mean, it would be good to see.
But speaking of Will Smith 20-something years ago, there was also a new trailer for the new Men in Black film.
Men in Black International.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, it's not just New York.
No, yeah. I think now it's based in London from what we can tell.
Well, it's New York and London, and there's some other, there's a desert.
Yeah.
It's very much an international film.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But
except now Will Smith is not in it.
No.
Tessa Thompson is basically the Will Smith character, but like less reluctant.
Mm-hmm. And you've got Chris Hemsworth as a partner.
Yeah. As the cocky.
Yeah, the cocky.
It's funny. It's like the two stages of Agent J. You know, the sort of the noob Agent J, and then the kind of cocksure Agent J, but like they're partnered up.
Yeah.
It looks fun.
It's. The trailer makes it look predictable, but it looks like a good old romp.
Yeah, but if there's one thing we've learned from trailers, that like good trailers, is that they can tell you the film's going to be one thing, and then it turns out that that's only a part of the film, and it's actually a much bigger story.
Yeah, but I can't imagine that being the case for Men in Black.
Yeah.
You know, I think personally, like I said...
You think we got the whole story in the trailer?
Yeah.
The Hive and bad Men in Black agents
and the big gun that they have obviously going to have to use in the big finale.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of that stuff. It's all in it.
Do you know what would be really funny?
Go on.
Is if it turns out they took like the Marvels approach to making a trailer, and everything we see in that trailer is literally just like the first 20 minutes.
Look, people have issues with the Men in Black. The whole Men in Black thing. I love the movies.
It's a bit tired.
It's a bit tired and everything. But I like those movies. I like going back to them and seeing them. And I like number 3.
I liked number 3
really
as well.
Number 3.
It had a pretty emotional ending.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness. Like, I mean, it does kind of retcon a few things that have been established in the previous films as far as their relationship goes.
Yeah.
You have to kind of really buy into the fact that Agent K just was so secretive that he even pretended to not know who the hell Jay was when they first met.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that in number 3 kind of makes it all seem a bit weird and coincidental. Under those circumstances, like without knowing the whole thing about Agent K and Agent J's father, their meeting is very natural, very organic, and things like that. But because with that sort of hidden history... it suddenly becomes very sort of like chosen one-ish. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there are issues with the whole Men in Black series, whatever, but it's a good, fun film to watch with aliens and guns and smashing and fighting. A little bit of smattering of like social commentary alongside racial stereotypes, like aliens taking on racial stereotypes. Is that what they're saying? Like all those kind of racial stereotypes, They come from the fact that aliens have had to adopt particular racial characteristics and just played up the stereotypes, and that's how stereotypes became a thing. We blame the aliens, do we? Let's blame the aliens on harmful stereotypes. Because maybe that's it. They learn like different cultures and things from American television or Western television that's just filled with nothing but racial stereotypes, and they're like, oh, okay, so that's what Asian people are like. I guess that's how I'm going to have to act while I'm on Earth. So it has Thor and it has Valkyrie. Yep. Which I can see it on your face. You're itching to talk about Endgame. I was actually going to say you keep trying to find the segue to jump onto Endgame. What I was going to say is that we know for a fact that those two have great chemistry. So for that reason alone, to go and watch Men in Black for it. Just watch it for the chemistry. Just watch it for the chemistry. Yeah. Because it's going to be. I'm going to love it. I think. Yeah. I wouldn't see it in the cinema. You wouldn't see it? No. See, the thing is, I would, purely just because I know it's going to be a special effects extravaganza. Yeah, look, I can see it from that point of view. But and I saw the first one at the cinema and was blown away. I didn't see the last two. And there are moments in the last two that kind of go, oh, I wish I'd... Alright, so we'll go on a Tuesday prices. Yeah, Tuesday price with Xavier. Yeah. I think that's the kind of film that would keep him engaged. I think he'd quite enjoy that movie. I can't imagine there's too much like introspection and talkiness in that film, so... Yeah. Yeah. And he'll know exactly who he's watching. Yeah. Yeah. So that might be a bit confusing for him. We'll just have to explain it. Yeah. But yeah, let's... Can we please talk about this movie now, please? All right. So we went to see Endgame. We went to see it last night. We did. And I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. I woke up with a theme tune in my head.
I woke up with just thoughts in my head. Like, there's so many thoughts about that film.
But there's so... It's like right, you said.
First of all, okay, let's just do a quick, no spoiler, quick chat about it. Okay. Right? The cast were great.
Yep. As you would expect.
The trailer really does not...
It's amazing how the trailer does not tell us anything about it.
Yeah, the trailer does not let you know what to expect whatsoever. No. You kind of... Based on fan theories and things like that, you can some assumptions were correct.
Yeah.
You know, I really didn't expect to see Ant-Man actually go up Thanos' butt.
No. No.
But, you know, I saw it and it just blew my mind. And Thanos' butthole. No, that doesn't happen.
Oh, isn't that spoiler in itself?
I think no, because no one ever expected that. If somebody actually had
it's on the internet. Anybody can expect anything when it's on the internet.
But no one's going to hear that Ant-Man did not in fact go up Thanos' butt and be like, gee, thanks. Could have warned me. Like, fucking spoiled it for me. I mean, if that's what you're expecting going into that film, that's not the film you're going to watch. No. I can recommend a couple of websites that will probably point you in the right direction, but beyond that, I don't think anyone was honestly expecting that. Though it would have been nice if they'd reshot a scene where that is discussed. But yeah, the cast would the cast would had a great pace as well. Yeah, at no point did I get bored.
No, I didn't either. I mean, they you know, the way the story moved and the way
it kept you engaged.
It kept you engaged, and how everything linked together. So, you know, just that story itself.
Yeah, it didn't feel clunky.
No, it didn't.
I did get vicariously bored a couple of times.
How so?
In that I sort of put myself in Xavier's position.
Oh, okay.
I kind of watched it from Xavier's point of view, and I could see that there are sort of a few stretches in the film where kids would get bored.
Yeah.
You know, for grown-ups or, you know, just for older audiences, it's really engaging, emotional, very human moments and things. And I think a lot of kids would get bored. Which I think says a lot about how we approach superhero movies now.
Yeah, because I don't think they're actually for kids anymore.
They're just for audiences. You know, there's the real human drama stuff for the more mature viewers, and then there's the visual, the sight gags and things for the kids, and then there's like everything else for everyone else to kind of come together. Beyond that, I think I wanted to watch it again straight away.
Yeah.
And I do think the Russos just knocked it out of the park. There was so much in there that I never really thought we'd ever see in a film. Like, just from a comic book point of view, like, I've seen stuff like that in comic books. I've seen setups like that, or I set pieces like that in comic books, but I never thought I'd actually get to see them in a film. And
or executed in quite a way.
Yeah, and I'm so glad we stayed away from, you know, after, I think the third trailer, we stayed away from all promotion.
Yeah. I mean, I've stayed away from the internet for the last few days.
Yeah, and I'm so glad we did, because there are so many holy crap moments throughout the film. Like, not they don't just save it for the climax. There are holy crap moments all the way
through that film.
Yeah.
You know, there are moments you're basically on the edge of your seat. For most of that movie, you're on the edge of your seat, or there are twists and turns so much. Your heart, all the way through that movie.
I thought at one point, I was like, I don't think my heart can handle this. I don't think my heart can handle this for 3 hours. Because from the moment the film began, from that first kind of like holy crap moment, which happens pretty quickly into the film, and continues, and it's followed up pretty quickly afterwards, and they could keep coming continuously throughout the film. After about 10-15 minutes, I was like, I don't think my heart's going to be able to handle this film. I don't think I'm going to make it to the end. In a way, I was grateful for the lulls in the pacing. You know, there's sort of more quiet moments, because it just allowed me just to catch my breath.
Yeah. It's such an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
I never expected to feel the way I did.
Yeah.
All the way through that movie, whether it's one moment I'm in tears and then the next moment I'm just giggling away to myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a one thing, and it is to that extreme.
Yeah, and it lands the beats. I don't think there was a single... There was one moment where I didn't react the way the directors wanted me to react. I kind of rolled my eyes, and we'll go into it in spoilers, but beyond that, they landed the emotional beats and the comedy beats and the action beats, everything. It just, I think...
And walking out of that cinema, it's satisfying.
Yeah.
Satisfying.
I don't think, like, everyone keeps going on about how Joss Whedon pulled the MCU together at the beginning. I don't think Joss Whedon could have pulled that off.
No.
I don't think Joss Whedon's as great a director as everybody makes him out to be. I think he's a competent writer. He has certain Whedonisms that sometimes can improve a script, but overall, I don't think he is. I don't think he's the god of geek. Everyone seems to.
I don't think he would have pulled off the script as well as.
I don't think he would have pulled
as it is now.
I don't think he would have pulled off the second half of the Infinity Saga the way the Russo brothers have, because I mean, Age of Ultron set in motion a lot of what came to pass in the last couple of years in the MCU. But the Russo brothers from Civil War, from Winter Soldier really, because that changed the MCU. But from there on, they've steered it into such a kind of exciting direction.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad the Russo brothers kind of took a step out of TV sitcom, Arrested Development and Marley and Me and things like that.
Well, they're now saying, I think it recently came out, that Endgame is their last movie. But I think they deserve this break.
Yeah, and not only, but I think Endgame is a very high note to leave on as well.
It's a great send-off for them.
I mean, I'm sure they'll be involved as producers for the future.
I don't think they'll leave the MCU completely. They're not going to cash
in such a lucrative chip.
No.
They're going to stick around with the MCU for a while, but as producers, it allows them to go off and do their own thing. Yeah. They just get to cash in. They just get that cheddar cheese at the end. But so if you haven't seen Endgame,
this would be the point
before we go on to that, would you say that you need to see all the MCU movies before this, or it would be more advantageous to see all the MCU movies?
Probably
obviously you'd have to see Infinity War.
Yeah. I think it's probably that it would have to be more advantageous.
Yeah.
For you to see.
I think there are key films you would absolutely have to see.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to see Avengers.
Basically, most of Phase 1, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, not so much Incredible Hulk, because they did a do-over with Avengers. So, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Avengers, obviously.
Yeah, and then you've got Guardians.
Yes, you'd have to see the Guardians movie. Both Guardians movies, or just...
Probably the first one. Just the first
Definitely
one.
The first one.
Yeah,
because
that's the only one you'd have to see.
The first one.
Yeah.
Civil War, definitely, because that actually plays very heavily into the film.
Yeah, it really does.
Civil War.
Possibly Black Panther, but I don't think you necessarily have to watch this film to... You have to watch Black Panther to watch this movie.
There would be a
moment of who's this guy?
Well, I mean, if you hadn't seen Black Panther, but you were going to watch Endgame, you would have at least seen Infinity War.
Yes.
And to understand what's going on in Infinity War, you would have to see Black Panther. So, yeah, you'd need... I think any of the films that introduces characters, any of the origin movies you'd need to see, just to understand who they are and why they are so important in the story. But beyond that, just the origin movies and the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
And, Civil War is kind of an Avengers movie. It's...
Captain America Civil War, but...
It's Avengers 2.5.
It's definitely Avengers.
Yeah, it's that halfway mark between Avengers 2 and 3. So, go see those, then go watch Endgame. But the thing is, as well, Civil War doesn't make sense without... Civil War... Your belly, man. It's like this tiny little wolf howling at the moon. Does that mean it's facing down? But yeah, Civil War doesn't make sense without Winter Soldier. But I'd say just go watch them all.
Just watch them all.
There are key ones. Look, you can probably do a Google search on the key ones you need to watch for it to matter. But personally, I say just go watch them all.
Go watch them all.
So, yeah. Best movie I've seen in a while.
Oh, God, yeah.
All right. Should we talk spoilers?
Go on then, let's talk spoilers.
Let's talk spoilers, because you wanna just roll your sleeves up.
I want to get my teeth into something.
To the meat and the bones.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So we start with Clint.
Yeah.
With his family.
Yeah.
And straight in.
You know what you're in for.
Yeah, but straight in, I was like, oh man.
Oh, I know. And the thing is, that's when I knew I should have put tissues in my pocket.
And it's like Jeremy John said, it's like watching a car crash
happen in slow motion.
Yeah. Because you know what's coming, and it's kind of manipulative when you think about it. Yeah. The Russos knew what they were doing.
Yeah, definitely.
With that scene.
They wanted to hit hard. They wanted to get you into that movie straight from the get-go.
Yeah.
And that's what that scene showed.
We knew it was gonna be emotional.
Yes.
But we didn't quite anticipate exactly how emotional. And I remember when we were watching it, when he said it, Clint says to his daughter, she's aiming for the he's teaching her how to shoot an arrow, and he says to her, right, you know where you're going, now you need to know how to get there.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder what the theme of the film's going to be.
The thing is, I think if you knew everything about this movie and all about the faces and everything else, I think
you'd hear that.
You'd hear that and know that the movie generally. We knew that it was going to be about time travel. We just didn't know the execution.
Yeah, everybody kind of guessed the time travel thing.
But I thought it was going to be
paparazzi, man. Yeah. Paparazzi leaked that photo, and that was kind of an arsehole thing to spoil. Because imagine, right, those pictures never got leaked.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have seen that coming.
No, that's true.
We would have seen these white suits in the trailer and be like, and people would have been like, she mentioned something about time pockets in the quantum realm, and maybe there's some time travel, but those pictures all but confirmed it. But we're jumping ahead. So he's teaching his daughter how to, and then the family disappears.
He looks around.
Because the thing is as well, because he's been so isolated from everything.
Yeah. He knew nothing about this. Yeah. He was there with his family. He had no idea what was going on with the rest of the world, with the rest of the Avengers, where they were.
Thanos, the whole Thanos thing was going.
Not at all.
But then what's the timeline of Ant-Man and the Wasp? Because if you remember in the mid-credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp, the snap happens. So was he doing all of that while the whole Thanos thing was going down? Is it that all of that stuff happened just before everything kicked off for Infinity War? And then, because by the time they're doing the quantum tunnel in the van, that would have taken a few weeks to build at the very least.
Yes.
So... Okay, so I've reconciled the timeline in my head now. All right, cool. So and then the snap, and it was a gut punch, and it's like we knew it was happening, but we knew it was about to happen. Like the moment he looked up and Lila was gone, I was like, and as well, they weren't gratuitous about it as well, because when he's looking for her, there's just a little flitter of some dust going on, like some ash, barely noticeable.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and then we cut to.
Tony and Nebula.
Yeah, Tony and Nebula. And that was, I thought that was like a really sweet moment.
But they're basically playing a game with each other. They're playing like...
But no, I'm talking about the montage, the whole period, he's teaching her that...
It's like flick football?
Yeah, he's teaching her that game where I don't know, it must be an American thing, I don't know what it is. When she tries to catch it, like, no, it's you're not supposed to,
You just wait for it to go in the goal.
Yeah, exactly. And it's almost like he's teaching her how to be human.
Yeah, trying to get her humanity
and they're taking care of each other. Like when he offers her food and she's like, no, you go ahead. And then she makes sure he's sleeping comfortably. And I think it's like the first time anyone's ever just treated her nicely.
Yeah, or just like a person.
A
person in their own right, rather than
a warrior
or an object to do their bidding.
Yeah, or anything. It was just a humane moment between them. Mm-hmm. And they hit it in the trailer, but in the film itself, Tony is like emaciated.
Yeah, you can tell that he's been out there For
it's
3 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can see that he hasn't eaten in a while.
Yeah, they're surviving on rations.
Yeah.
And he calls her the Blue Meanie.
Yeah.
Tony and his nicknames. And
yeah. Oh, he has so many of them during the which we'll come across.
But the thing is as well, like, they're such, like, dad nicknames. I mean, the Blue Meanie is from the Yellow Submarine. And for the dads and, it is dad nicknames. I mean, obviously mums still get it, but they are, like, it's the kind of thing a dad would say to his kid, and his kid would be like, what? Dad, oh my God, you're so old. Is that a coffee shop or a disco?
But yeah, when he's talking to Pepper and he's speaking about how much oxygen they have left, and you go to that moment when Nebula sits him up, and you think he's going to die then. Because the oxygen's going.
I didn't get that impression.
Oh, I did.
I didn't get that impression. I mean, obviously, then his journey ends right there. I never got the impression he was going to die. Yeah, I never got the impression that his life was in danger. It was more about, it wasn't an if, it was a how or when.
And then obviously you've got Captain Marvel.
And then Captain Marvel
turns up.
Well, then that means that Captain Marvel mid-credit scene where she turns up at the pager, that's happened before we meet up with Tony.
Yes.
That might have been a couple of weeks beforehand. Or, that might... Yeah, I think it's what we saw at the end of Captain Marvel. That was her, she returned to Earth, and that's part of the Captain Marvel movie. It's not actually part of Endgame. Because when she turns up at the ship, no one's like, oh, who are you?
No.
Everyone's just like, oh, thanks. So she, obviously, by that point, Carol had been to Earth. And Rocket's already there as well. So maybe he was like, well, I know how you could track the ship.
Yeah, because they're in his ship.
Yeah, I don't think it was happenstance that she found Tony in the ship. I think she found him because she was looking for him.
Yeah.
And I think the Russos respect their audience enough to not feel like they have to explain it or spell it out.
Yeah.
Then
we can put it together.
Yeah, if you saw the post-credit scene and you give the film enough credit, you can put it together.
Yeah, and it wasn't, and it's not ex machina in that sense.
As well, because that's the other thing I keep seeing online. Everyone's going like, oh, she just happened to be in the neighborhood, that sort of thing. And no, I don't think it was. Do you know what?
Thinking about what you're saying now, I completely agree. I think that whole end credit scene at the end of Captain Marvel is the continuation of her story, showing that she landed here.
Yeah, and it's not the end. It's not part of Endgame. It wasn't a teaser for. I mean, it wasn't a scene. It wasn't like the Civil War scene at the end of one of the other movies where they actually take the scene where Bucky's got his arm in the clamp.
Yeah,
and it's taken actually from the film. Everyone was led to believe that, and we're getting hung up on it anyway.
But so now they've arrived.
Now they're back together and they have a plan.
Oh no, they don't have a plan.
No, because as well, like it's the first time Tony and Steve have seen each other since.
Oh my God!
Since 2016. Yes. Since the fight.
Yeah.
And he blames Steve
for everything.
But the thing is, as well, he's exhausted.
Yes.
He's in shock. He's
still dealing with PTSD because of
everything. PTSD, but not only that, but he's in shock from what's actually happened. Like he's got back to Earth. They lost.
They lost.
And he lashed out, and he needed to blame someone, and he blamed Steve. Baby break. Baby asleep.
Baby's asleep.
We can go back. So. Yeah.
I think so.
So we were talking about Tony lashing out at Steve.
Yeah, you've got to remember. Steve promised him if we lose, we do it together. But they weren't together. Yeah. So he sees that as a as a slight.
And that was
brutal.
Yeah, it was. That's the thing about Tony, right? Yeah. Tony is cutting.
Yeah, he hits hard.
Yeah, when he there have been several times within the MCU where he's torn someone down, and it's always right to the heart of it, like a surgeon. It's really almost.
Precise. Yeah. What he says is very precise to that person. Yeah. It's never some grandiose idea of something.
Yeah, he's never talking in generalities.
No, never.
He's very specific about what he's angry about.
Yes, definitely.
And so that scene was very brutal.
And then you see him, just see him collapse. It's like he needed to get that off his chest. And then he just fell. He just
can't. I think the only thing that surprised me about that scene is the fact that he's eating some sort of soup and not cheeseburgers. Yeah. You know, after his thing in Afghanistan, the first thing he wanted was cheeseburgers. Because they did a nice repeat of that scene where he's... Because in Iron Man, when Rhodey brings him back from Afghanistan, he gets out of the wheelchair and Rhodey carries him out of the plane and he meets... Where Pepper Potts is waiting for him, and then when they bring the ship back, Gamorah carries him out of the ship.
Yes.
And Steve helps him out of the ship, and then he goes to Pepper. There are a lot of moments in the film where it's something like that, exactly like that, happened to that character in a previous film. So anyways, we're getting hung up on that. They come up with a plan.
They do.
And they come up with a plan to go after Thanos. Yes. Figure out where he is.
Because Nebula says...
Well, Nebula only tells him about the garden. But it's only because he snaps. He does another snap that they are able to figure out where the planet is. Yeah. And they go after him. And it is like, holy shit. You know, like first they get the jump on him. And he looks like he's dying. He's limping. They get the jump on him. And straight away, Thor cuts off his arm. And I was like... Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! That's what... He did it. He did the thing. He did the thing that everybody on the internet was saying he should do. Cut off his arm. There was just no...
But it was a false thing because he destroyed the Infinity Stones.
And then they find out he's destroyed the Infinity Stones.
Indeed. And then Thor just grabs his
axe off his head.
No!
I was like... What? And I was like, okay, I'm glad we didn't bring Xavier to this.
Yeah. That would have been a bit much for him to see.
The first 15 minutes of the movie, and he gets his head lopped off. And I was like...
But you've got to think about when...
And I went for the head. Yeah. He told me...
Exactly.
But that was him lashing out.
Yes.
They had no option... You know, they were out of options. And he just wanted to make Thanos pay.
Yeah, he was hurting. He was hurting on so many levels.
Out. That's it. It was a pointless thing. It achieved nothing. It's basically like just, it's like punching a wall.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, this is what I should have done in the first place.
It's the equivalent of punching a wall if you're the type of person that carried an axe around to kill a very specific type of person. Yeah, I was like, wow.
And then they're stuck.
And then it cuts to...
5 years into the future.
5 years later, which means from now on, the MCU is set in 2023.
Yes.
Which means now the MCU is 4 years ahead of us. Unless they take a 4-year break, it's always going to be 4 years ahead of us.
Which we know isn't happening.
No, they've got 3 out next year, and they've got 3 out... Well, they've got 3 out every year for the next 3... There's 9 films lined up. Between now and 2022. 5 years later, and the world and the Avengers have fallen apart.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see, like, they don't even do, like, sports events anymore.
No, I mean, you go there and you can see... when you see it, you see a stadium, don't you?
And you can see the stadium's not been used. No. And it's like the whole of New York looks like a refugee camp. It was odd, there was those refugee camps. I
think the whole
infrastructure had fallen apart to such a degree that...
I think the infrastructure had fallen apart to a huge degree. And then it just looks disjointed, which is what we feel. We feel disjointed.
Yeah, but if that's the case, then why are the Avengers just sitting in luxury? Relative luxury. Look at the Avengers compound. If the world has fallen apart and everyone's living in refugee, there are other things the Avengers could be doing to fix the world right now. I think
that whole thing was just cars and debris and things like that.
Do you think it's just all the cars that were abandoned when their owners got snapped? But that's the thing as well. Like, it's not even like half the firefighters got snapped, and half the police, and it's half the population.
Yes.
And that could mean like only like 5 police officers got snapped and the rest were fine because the general population made the difference.
Yeah.
Or it could mean like the vast majority of them.
We don't.
Yeah, or it could be like lots of variations. Like some towns their infrastructure went untouched, but their populace was decimated. Because that's the thing. That's what Thanos' plan didn't take into consideration. Is first of all how people would react to such a thing, or how infrastructures would react to such a situation. Gamorah's planet he says it's all thriving and, nothing but full bellies but is that true? Yeah. Or is it because it was the result of war and not the result of some cosmic event, Gamorah's people were able to recover from it?
Yes.
In very much the same way any society would recover from war. This journey of sort of reparation and recovery.
Yes.
Whereas, for literally every person on the earth that wasn't involved with the Avengers, as far as they knew, one day everything was fine, and then suddenly half the population disappeared for no reason. And then as time goes by, they start to learn that it was because of this alien dude turned up and just snapped everyone out of existence.
Yeah.
That would be a lot to take in. It would take a lot for a populace to recover from something like that. Just psychologically.
Yeah.
And he didn't take that into consideration.
No.
So all these civilizations are probably just collapsing in despair. So we find Steve.
Yes. He's running a survivors meeting.
Is he running it, or is he just there? Well,
he doesn't.
He is running it because he's monologuing, isn't he?
Yeah, he's monologuing.
That's not what attendees do.
No. And then he asks.
Yeah, he's the one chairing it.
He's the one that's asking all the questions, chairing it and asking the questions, and you've got one of the Russos actually there.
Yeah, do you know what? At the time, I thought that was really cool. One of the Russos making a cameo as a gay man.
Yes.
And not making a big deal out of it. It's not like he wasn't some sort of stereotype. He wasn't flamboyant. He was just a dude
who went out on a date.
And I was cool with it. And I had it's like, I was like, awesome. That's how you do representation. Yes. You don't make a big song and dance about it. And then they're just like really patting themselves on the back about this.
Oh.
Like they've made some huge leap in, for representation in comic book movies. And, if they hadn't, done a victory lap over it, I'd be totally cool about it. Yeah. I'd be like, yes, this is how representation, that's how you that's how you represent a character. That's how you represent an LGBTQ character.
Yeah.
You don't sort of go like, "Hey, we have a gay character."
Look at me.
You just get it. You just put it in there. You show it in real terms and move on.
But he says something. Cap says something very poignant in that whole scene.
In that very disingenuous scene.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not.
No, what I mean by disingenuous. What I mean by disingenuous is when Cap's talking to them about moving on. I didn't believe a single word he said.
Yeah, but...
Because that is so... Yeah, I know it turns out that he didn't mean it anyway, but even at the time, I was like, I'm not buying it, Cap. You've learned how to lie since Winter Soldier.
Yeah, but he is such a different Cap. From that moment, he is a very different Cap.
Which we see later on in the film. Do.
Yeah, so he talks about moving on. And that to move on, we have to repair. And then the next point you see him is with Natasha.
Yeah. And he's talking about not being... I think, though, at the time, he was being a leader.
Yes.
He's doing what Cap does best. And he
rallies his troops.
Yeah, and he's rallying these survivors. He's telling them... He's giving them the words of encouragement that they need at that moment, even if he doesn't believe it.
Yeah. Because sometimes, I mean...
And that's like his strength.
Yeah, that is his strength.
Getting people to do what they don't think they can.
To believe in themselves. Even in the darkest moments, to believe in themselves. Yeah.
So, and then you see later on, literally in the next scene, he and Natasha have not moved on. But then we meet the saviour of the universe.
Yes.
For this whole film.
Yes.
You know who I'm talking about?
Ant-Man.
No.
Who?
The rat.
Oh, yes.
Without that rat, Scott would never have escaped the quantum realm.
No.
And he would never have told them about time travel, and we wouldn't have the Endgame.
No, we wouldn't.
So everything comes down to that. Do you think Doctor Strange, in his 15,430,000 whatever out of possible futures, that was the key? It was the rat. In every other possible future, that rat didn't step on that control console.
Yes.
Maybe in every other future, in some, the rat saw the control console, but then there was a noise and it would spin around, and then go off somewhere else, or in another future a cat killed its mother before it was born. That was it. That's the key. That's what Doctor Strange saw. He saw that rat, and then everything played out exactly as it should.
Alright, so Scott comes back, and the way he reacts is perfect.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like, he's confused.
He's completely confused, and the first thing he does, I mean, he asked that kid, but the first thing he does...
That kid is just that kid haunted my dreams last night. Just the way he looks at him, like there's like walking, the Walking Dead, he's like,
Yeah, and he doesn't get an answer. And then he goes. Obviously, the first thing, he reacts in the way you would do as a parent. Go look for your daughter.
Yeah, he's looking for her name.
Yeah.
He sees his name.
Yes, which shocks him. It's like, what, no?
Yeah, because for him, like, he's been gone 5 hours. In his timeline, he's been gone 5 hours.
Yep.
And he's come out, and the world is a completely different place. And according to the world, he's dead.
Yes. Yes. How would you feel like coming back as
I don't think I would have gotten as far as he did.
You're just a wimp.
No, I think I would have just had a complete meltdown. Or I would have gotten to that wall, not seen my kids' names, and then, like, tried to verify it. I would have spent like 2 days just researching instead of just going to the house to find out. I was expecting him to like knock on that door and somebody completely different open the door.
I thought that at first as well.
I thought it was just going to be like, I don't, who are you? What are you doing at my house? We moved in this, X amount of time ago. But where's his ex-wife and her husband? And if they're gone, who raised Cassie?
Yes. Indeed.
And if they didn't raise Cassie, why is she still in her childhood home? Why didn't she end up in the system? Unless for the last 5 years she's pretty much just been raising herself. Because Cassie in Ant-Man and the Wasp, she's what, 10?
Yes, she's about 10.
But then Cassie in this looks like 20.
She's supposed to be about 15, 16. So.
She looks 20. Like my first thought was like, did they recast his ex-wife? It's only when she went like, Dad. I was like, oh shit, that's Cassie. Like, that is not. And then I spent the next few minutes just trying to remember how old Cassie was. Like, wait, she was like 5 in the first Ant-Man and the Wasp, and if anything, she's only supposed to be about 12. Because
that would make her
she was about
17.
5 in the first Ant-Man, and then that Ant-Man, that one is like 3 years, because he's been under house arrest for 2 years, and there was a bit of a gap between Civil War and Ant-Man. So it's 3 years later, so she'd been 8, so 13, but she looked about 20.
Teenagers, eh?
She was taller than him.
I think that was a step.
No, like, she's taller than him. Unless she's that girl.
What you take away from that.
Unless she's that girl from Into the Spider-Verse. She's like, wow, that girl's tall. So he goes back. He tracks down the Avengers and tells them about time travel.
Yeah.
And
they go back. Then they
try to find Tony to convince him to take part.
But he doesn't want anything. But I can understand why, because he's kind of just moved on with his life.
He's
done with it. He doesn't want.
It's more that he's found something else.
Yes.
He's got Morgan now, which my sister's going to get such a kick out of. My sister's name is Morgan. I'm not telling you, obviously. I'm telling the people listening who are like wondering, really? What does that mean? But and it was interesting seeing this different side of Tony, like this very kind of like, he's living a very humble life now. I mean, obviously he has a beautiful cabin which probably costs millions of dollars, but his life, relatively speaking, is a lot more
very
humble.
Minimal.
It's a smaller life.
Yeah, it's homely.
It's about the family now.
Yeah, it is about family, and you can see his relationship with his daughter. I mean, that's quite a running theme throughout this movie, because the whole of the Avengers saga has been based on father relationships and things like that. So this kind of
his daddy issues, Thor's daddy issues.
Gamorah and
Nebula and Gamorah's daddy issues. You got T'Challa's daddy issues.
You got Quill's daddy issues.
Peter's daddy issues with Tony.
So it all kind of runs full circle again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And now he is the dad.
He is the daddy issue. Because Morgan's going to have daddy issues after this movie. So they do the time travel thing, and didn't I say there was going to be like a whole Back to the Future 2 vibe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Before we get there, I mean after Tony says no.
Oh,
right.
Do you know what we did? After he says no,
yeah, they go and look for Hulk. They look for Bruce.
Bigger brain.
A bigger brain.
And we got Professor Hulk.
I mean, look, I loved Professor Hulk. His whole demeanor, the whole thing, and it makes sense.
He seems so much more because he seems at ease with himself.
Yes, but it makes sense if you think about it. I mean, Bruce actually said, we need to talk.
Yeah.
And, and
we got some stuff to work out.
We got some stuff to work out. And 5 years on, they've worked it out. And I love him, the humour and everything else.
Though, admittedly, it would have been nice to see a part of that.
Yeah.
Considering how we've seen him wrestle with the Hulk. And it would have been nice to see him kind of, reconcile.
Look, I
suppose they didn't have time, no. I mean, the film's 3 hours long. It had enough... they needed to... I think that's probably why they did the time jump, so they could just yada yada over some stuff.
And look, I can understand why that would be quite jarring for some people, because if you're expecting the Hulk, you're expecting Hulk smash Hulk.
It's interesting.
But I like this version.
Yeah, it's interesting because like in the last film, it was all Ruffalo.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was all Banner.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's all Hulk. Well, it's all...
It's a mix.
It's all Jolly Green.
Yeah, it is.
And he is Jolly Green this time.
Yes, he is.
But that bit where he has to kind of do the Hulk smash thing, and his heart's not really in it, and he's like, he just kind of pats the top of the car and just
Hulk
kind of like
smash,
just picks up the bike and just like limply chucks it across the road, and it's like.
But they get him. But he thinks the whole thing's a joke. When they're doing the test, he goes, "It's either all a joke or none of it's a joke." Right? He thinks like he can't do it.
We get like Child Scott, Old Man Scott, Teen Scott, Baby Scott.
Such a brilliant moment. It's such a brilliant freaking
Somebody
moment.
wet my suit. Somebody peed my suit. It was either baby me or old man me, or maybe just me. Because Tony explains that you're not travelling through time, time is travelling through you.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's a nice spin.
Because when you see him driving fast and back into that car, once Pepper gives him permission to come and do that thing, to come and help the Avengers, the way he drives in, he goes, "Oh, okay, so what happened? I told you about that, didn't I?"
Do you think that whole thing where he didn't stop in the right place, do you think that was like a way of them saying, like, it's not the same Tony?
Yes.
He's a bit out of practice from being like Tony Stark, billionaire playboy. He's now a very different. He's now old man Stark.
Yes.
So they do the time travel thing, and this is where the film really kicks off, because this is it. They marketed to literally the first act of the movie, and they showed nothing about what was about to happen, and that's the bulk of the film. Everything that happens, almost none of, bar like one or two shots in the trailer, everything from this point on is not in the trailer.
No, not at all.
And I was not expecting it. No. And I'm glad we managed to avoid spoilers. And it kind of upsets me how many people I've had chats with now who've been like, "No, somebody ruined it for me. Someone spoiled it for me." Yeah, it kind of makes me a bit sad for them.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't mean they can't still watch the film and there will still be a ton of surprises, because there's no way someone can spoil every minute of the film. It's not like me. It's not like when we were watching The Force Awakens. Is this the scene where Harrison dies?
Yeah, you're not waiting for it's not imminent. It's you. The whole movie just has one surprise after another, after another, after another. That's so much fun.
Every time the film turned, I was like, "What? Did not see that coming." Mm-hmm. So anyway, we go back to it. Revisits. They go through time.
No, wait. We haven't met Hawkeye or Thor yet, because now they know about this jump. So they go looking for these. Yeah,
they want to get the band. They want to get the band back together.
Exactly.
So they look for Hawkeye and Thor, who are completely different characters.
Both of them.
Hawkeye is a murderer, and Thor is a sloth who uses Stormbreaker as a bottle opener. He's just like living with Korg and Meek, playing Fortnite. This guy called me a dickhead. It's like just threatens
his kid over there.
To your mother's basement. I love that.
Korg just can't take like shit talk on game form.
Korg is just too nice.
Yeah,
he's too nice. He can't do it. Doesn't
why are they saying these mean things to me when all they're trying to do is play games? I think it's very optimistic of the MCU to think that we'll still be playing Fortnite in 5 years. Do you think a lot of people would be kind of disappointed with this version of Thor? Do you think some people would go, it's a slap in the face to the fans?
I think people will be disappointed with this version of Thor, but we needed this version of Thor. I think it really works for the film.
Because the thing is as well...
Because he's broken.
I think a lot of it will be... If they could play that version of Thor without him being out of shape, I think that if fans are going to get bent out of shape about it, then it wouldn't... Or they'd be less bent out of shape about it if he was still in shape. Yeah. You know, if they could still have those kind of vanity shots with the V going on and things like that. So I think there are going to be some fans who are going to be a bit annoyed with that, but it's a good visual shorthand to show where Thor's at now.
Yeah, where he is. I mean, he's supposed to be the king of this new Asgard, which is like this Norwegian town. But he's not really a king. He's just a downtrodden and wants to just drink beer.
Yeah, I know. It's because he's given up and he's kind of punishing himself in a way.
Yeah, he is.
But it's because, I mean, he blames himself.
Yes, he does.
You know, because he should have gone for the head. And when he did go for the head, it was too late. You know, it was pointless. And, I mean, later on in the film, it does kind of have, like, this very... because his hair's long again. And he's got this his beard is longer than it's ever been. Yeah. And it's this big kind of, like, this big matted thing. And then later on... He looks just like his dad. Yeah. He has his father's...
It's quite symbolic.
Yeah.
We're going round again to this whole thing about fathers.
Oh, yeah, Thor has father issues.
Yeah.
But now he takes on, like, his father's mantle when they're in war. So, and we find Hawkeye, and he's basically just going around murdering gangsters.
He's brutal.
He's murdering cartel guys and Yakuza guys and things like that because they survived... And his family didn't.
Hawkeye's a badass.
Yeah, Hawkeye's a badass in this. I mean, I've always thought Hawkeye was kind of a badass.
Yeah, but you love him from the comics anyway.
Yeah, but I loved this iteration of him in the films. Yeah. From the first Avengers movie. I didn't like how he got nerfed by Loki and became a bad guy. I was really looking forward to seeing him on the Avengers team. But during the Battle of Manhattan, I thought he was a complete badass. Yeah. And I thought he was a badass in Age of Ultron and Civil War. I don't understand why there's always been this hate of Hawkeye. Just because his gimmick is basically it's a bow and arrow. But ultimately, his thing is that he is incredibly well trained. Yeah. He never misses. No one seems to give Black Widow a hard time about it, just because she's she does the whole ninja assassin thing.
But they're both brilliant at what they do.
Yeah, they're both the best. Yes, you know, I mean, the thing is, they're human. They're normal people who don't have like iron suits who fight alongside Avengers. How can you doubt Hawkeye? He's a badass.
He is a badass.
And everyone's only noticing it now because he's got a bad boy haircut and sleeve tattoos. Is that what he needed from the get-go? If he'd had that from the get-go, would people have taken him a little bit more seriously? So now they've got the band back together. It's time to do their wacky time travel adventure. And we get to revisit a few of the films. So, going back to our thing earlier about which films do they need to watch, they definitely need to watch... do you know what they did? Do you know what they did?
What did they do?
They made it so everybody has to watch Thor: The Dark World.
Yes, that's true, they did. Oh my god, I didn't even think of that. They did, because they all go off in teams. Yeah. And I like that. I like that they split
and I like
up.
And the dynamics. I do like the teams they split up
in. Me too.
Because Thor and Rocket, they have kind of a specific dynamic. There's this respect, but it's this weird respect. It's like Thor kind of, in the last film, Thor kind of respected him, but kind of adored him as well. He's like, yeah. And Rocket kind of respects Thor, but doesn't quite get him. Yeah. He doesn't quite get this guy. It's like... And I like their dynamic, and I like the fact that they paired off to go back to Asgard. And it gave a lot of the characters opportunity for closure.
Yes.
Like Thor in particular with his mother. Because he got closure with his father, but he never got closure with his mother. And then...
Tony with his father.
Tony with his father. He managed to get closure with his father. And Gamorah as well. She also got closure with Thanos.
Well, she had closure with her past.
Yeah.
Rather than with Thanos, it was more to do with who she is.
Yeah, who she is now and who she used to be.
Yeah.
But then she also finally got that closure with Thanos. Because in the last film, she confronted him, but there was no closure.
And with Gamorah. Because they were able to build a relationship with Gamorah in her past version, rather than having the smallest amount of time for them to get to know each other.
There's a time paradox in that film.
Okay.
Because remember, the whole thing was the Infinity Stones. They could be taken away, but they had to be brought back to the exact moment they were taken away.
Yes.
But how does that work with people? Because now Thanos and Gamorah of 2014, not Nebula, sorry, Thanos and Nebula of 2014 are dead.
My brain hurts.
And Gamorah of 2014 is now in 2023.
Yes.
And has joined the Guardians, but 5 years or 9 years.
9 years into the past, from the past.
9 years younger.
Yeah. And the way she kicks with nuts.
So, yeah, there's a bit of a time paradox there, because that means that now, because they catch up with them at the beginning of the first Guardians film. All right, we should pause it and check on that cough. Okay, where were we? Yeah, so there's a paradox now, because they catch up with Quill at the beginning of Guardians. So it means that now that movie plays out with no Gamorah, no Nebula.
And no Stone.
No Thanos. No, they're going to return the stone.
Return the stone, don't they? Yes.
But Quill's now going to... But 2014 Quill is now going to get that stone, come into no confrontation with Jimon Hunsu's character, and it's all going to play out very differently. He's going to escape prison without Gamorah, but with Drax. And or would the bounty even be on his head? Because the bounty is on his head for different things.
Time travel is weird. I don't want to think about it.
Time travel
Just
makes no
enjoy
sense.
The movie.
Yeah, but that's it. There is no way of reconciling time paradoxes in time travel, no matter how careful you are. Because all they did was focus on the stones. The stones are now back in place. Everything involving the stones plays out as it should. But now people and setups are going to be different.
Yes.
But they time travel. They go back to Thor the Dark World. But then they also go back to Avengers.
Yes, they do.
That was fun.
Did you know what? That for me, that was the best out of the lot. That going back.
Why was that the best?
Because because I think the phase 1 has more of an impact on me than the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we get introduced to the characters
but again,
we love.
Avengers was also the first MCU film you went to the cinema to see.
Yes, exactly.
For you. So
yes, for me.
That was your cinema, because we binge watched phase 1 together before the Avengers movie came out. I made you watch it.
You did, and he made me a fan. I have to admit, you made me a fan. And we watched, Avengers, and it has the biggest impact. It also has the characters that we know and love.
Yeah.
That we've seen, and who I actually went to watch Endgame for.
Yeah.
I went to see Endgame for Cap and Iron Man. Stark, there we go. Cap and Stark. And we get to see that. I love
that how they do the glory shot with standing over Loki, and then it's all right, guys, we can hero pose to the live long day, but we got things to do. And then when Rumbelow and the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents walk in, and
such a great moment. Oh my god!
It's like, yeah, they look like bad guys. I like as well when they get in the lift together. I was waiting for the Winter Soldier fight. Oh no, it's the Winter Soldier
fight.
I was waiting for the Winter Soldier fight.
Yeah.
Instead it's like, Hail Hydra.
such a great moment in that movie, and then willingly just gave the box to
like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, you can have it now. Yeah. No, we're not going to call the secretary. We're just going to do that.
Yeah, because it's Hydra business. Yeah, all right, no worries. You take that case. It's all good.
And you see Steve walk out with that. I was like, yeah, man.
He looks so smug, and then he has to fight himself.
Yes, yes. I can do this all day.
Yeah,
I know, pal.
I know. I was like, it's was it? That truly is America's butt.
Not chalk up. Those that onesie doesn't make him much regret.
No, it's just when he sees himself lying on the wall. He's like, he sees himself lying on the floor. He goes, that truly is America's butt.
They do take the piss out of themselves in this film. They really do.
But this is it, though. I mean, it is Cap seeing a younger version of himself. So obviously he's gonna have some things to say. Like even when he's like, "I'm so full of this guy. I'm tired of this guy's shit. I'm getting tired of this guy's shit." It's like, considering the last time someone said the word shit in his presence, he's like, language. I heard your stomach again. Stomach agrees with me. It's like, yeah. Captain America swearing. And then they lose again. Another paradox. They lose the Tesseract because Loki takes it.
Yes.
And portals out of there
because they make a mistake.
But he's getting his own show now. So is it going to be Loki's adventures through 2012? Because is that what it is? Is that what the TV show is going to be? The Disney Plus show is going to be? Is like this time paradox?
I didn't even think about that.
Because all his time between the first Avengers movie and Infinity War is accounted for, and then he dies. So now he's escaped after the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
But he escapes with the Tesseract, and that forces them to go to 1970, where I wasn't so convinced with the Michael Douglas de-aging in this one.
No.
It looked like they just caked him with makeup and put a big wig on him. What was with that hair? What was with his 1970? It just looked like cartoon hair. It was huge.
Well, I guess in the 70s he had huge
hair.
No,
that wasn't even 1970s huge. That was just absurdly huge. It's when he's running down the hallway.
Excuse me.
When he's running down the hallway, it's just he looked like a microphone. He looked like a microphone in a lab jacket.
Oh yeah, because they had to go to his.
They needed more pin particles. Yeah, they did, and they needed the Tesseract. So Steve gets the pin particles and sees Peggy, and then Howard sees his dad,
whose wife is pregnant with Tony.
Yeah, this is just before Tony's born, and his dad's getting ready to be a dad to Tony, and he's nervous, and Tony gets to see a different side of his father.
Yeah. And he
gets to see the human side of his father.
Yeah. The side that he never saw. Because all Tony ever saw was a tough side.
And not only that, but...
And the workaholic.
Or the side he resented. Because in Civil War, you see him with the younger version of him, like 20 years old, with his dad, and he's still kind of pissed off with his dad. So he's not really seeing his dad. He's just seeing the person he's pissed off with. And here he gets to see his dad as just a man. As just a dude nervous about having a kid.
That moment, I would do anything for that kid. And that moment there was Tony's realisation of how much his father really, really cared for him.
Yeah, because he gets a hint of that in Iron Man 2. There's that he's watching that film, and he sees there's that bit in the film where young Tony comes into the set.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Get him out of here!" Blah, 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 blah. And then the video plays out, and then he's like, "Tony, this is a message for you." But he never got to feel,
He didn't feel it, but this time he felt it. He felt what his father felt, because now you've got to remember, he's a father.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was able to relate to his father as a father. But it's kind of also a role reversal in that Tony, at this point in his life, is more experienced than his father is at that point in his life.
Yeah.
So he's able to impart wisdom.
Yeah, and he says, "Don't worry about it. You'll do all right."
It was at that point. Did you kind of get that at that point? Did you get the sense that Tony's gonna die?
Yeah.
It's like he needed this.
He needed this.
They needed to give him this before they killed him.
Yeah. They were basically giving him closure on all aspects of his life. Closure with Pepper, because they had a child, and if you remember at the beginning,
at the beginning he was putting her first now.
Yeah.
He'd become a whole person, and the only thing he needed was that last bit of closure
with his dad, and
he could die happy. Yeah. It was right there.
I mean, Pepper actually said, before they even go on this mission,
he says,
will you be able to,
He says, I want to put it in the lake and just go to bed.
Yeah, and Pepper says, well, if you go to bed, will you be able to rest?
And then also, as well as that, Thor gets closure with his mother.
Yeah.
But he's the only one who actually tells them what's up.
Yes.
He tells her the full story. Because she rang straight away. She's like, look.
You're not from this time zone. I know you're not from here.
Exactly. I mean... What gave it away is the fact that 5 minutes ago I looked completely different.
And now I've just got a little long beard.
It was at the back. Yeah, exactly. But she's all like, I was raised by witches, It's like, you don't need to be raised by witches to tell... something. You should know something's up with your son when you've seen them 5 minutes ago. Yeah, because if it was an imposter, they would have tried a little bit harder to look like the guy you saw 5 minutes ago.
I think what they were really trying to say there is that... A mother knows. That's it. I think that was just the point.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was... And she gave him the courage. She's the one that kicked him into shape. Like,
what was it she said? It's like, stop trying to live... Stop trying to be the person you're supposed to be.
And
be the person you are. And I think that's what made him kind of give up. His father, living in his father's shadow, he put so much pressure on himself to be this great warrior and everything like that, and he messed up royally. So it probably gave him, undoubtedly that was the root of his.
They kick up the arse.
Yeah, and but ultimately that was the crisis he was going through. It was like, this idea of himself and who he actually is. He couldn't reconcile those two things.
So now we're heading off to Vormir?
First let's talk about...
Oh no, because you got Professor Hulk. So Professor Hulk is
he meets up with the Ancient One.
Yeah. Which he was shocked at because he wanted to, because he thought
he was expecting Strange. And she's like, no, you want Strange. He's up the road performing surgery.
You're kind of like 5 years too early.
It's odd. Because at this point, she knows who Strange is, she knows his destiny, blah, 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 blah. But in the Doctor Strange movie, when he turns up at her temple, it takes a little while for her to come round. Now, why did she need convincing in the Doctor Strange movie if in 2012 she was like, I know who Doctor Strange is,
I don't think it was that she needed convincing. I think he needed convincing.
Or he needed to convince her.
Yeah. More than anything else. Because maybe what it is what happened here.
Or is it part of his humility journey?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I just refuse. But if you remember, it was Mordo who kind of talked the Ancient One into letting him in. So if in 2012 she knew what was to be. But as well...
come on, it's magic. Magic can explain everything.
Yeah, I guess. Because she knows he's good, because it's when Hulk says, like, well, then why did Strange give it to Thanos in the first place?
Yeah. And that could have something to play with it as well.
Yeah, well...
Because, she knew... Well, then she wouldn't know that he came because he's going back to...
Yeah, exactly. I mean...
Yeah.
It seems like the Ancient One always knows what's going on, but still needs convincing.
All right, so... But, yeah, okay, so she takes it for... Hulk takes it... she gives it to Hulk. But
after he promises that they'll
return them all.
And then we go to Vormir for the one bit of the film that... This is the bit where I rolled my eyes.
You rolled your eyes. For me, it had an impact.
Because, you were crying. I literally had to turn to you like, can you calm it down, please? I was just sitting there like, what is it with the Russos throwing women off this cliff? That's the only thought I had during that whole scene. As soon as they turned up at Vormir, I was like, I know where this is going.
But who did you think was going to die? Did you think it was going to be her?
I knew it was going to be her. I knew it was going to be her because
Hawkeye has a family.
It's not just that. I mean, all right, if you're using tropes and things like that, traditionally, Clint is the one supposed to die because within this film, he has been killing. He's been on a murder rage.
So he needs that redemption.
Yeah. Yes, Black Widow has this past, but she spent the better part of 10 years redeeming herself.
Yeah.
She had nothing to pay back.
No.
He did. Mm-hmm. But I knew that she was the one who was going to go over that cliff. And when she finally went over that cliff, I rolled my eyes.
I can't answer that.
The thing is, I like that it was a complete reversal of the Thanos Gamorah scene in that she did it willingly. Thanos, he dragged Gamorah off that cliff and threw her. And whereas Clint and Natasha were fighting each other over who gets to go. They were both trying to stop each other so the other one could go. And that was cool. That was where the emotion landed for me.
But that's why when she did die, it hit harder for me.
But that's why when she died instead of him, I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I get your point.
And I did feel like I was being manipulated at that point because they used the same music that they used when Gamorah was thrown off. And that was the only point in the movie that I didn't like. So I'd rather just move on.
So do we have all the stones?
They get the stones. They get back. They build. Now, here's something somebody else raised. Why is it that Thanos needed to go to the place with the made-up name?
Nebula?
Yeah, with giant dinklage to have a special gauntlet made when Tony could just do it with his nanotech. Why did they have to get cosmic dwarves to use, to do it in the heart of a dying star when Tony could have just made it in his workshop? And it's a lot more effective because it can fit everybody's hand instead of just one person's hand.
They didn't have that nanotech though. They did at that point. Or Tony didn't. Tony didn't have it until
we're
Infinity War.
We're talking like cosmic engineering. It is beyond human comprehension. That's what they needed to encase the Infinity Stones. And Tony threw something together in an afternoon. Come on, answer me, damn it.
I don't know.
You want to defend it, you need to answer it. If you want to defend it, you need to be able to defend it.
I'm not defending anything. Look, that's a hole in the story.
You seem to be okay with it. I'm not.
I am okay with it.
I'm not.
Fair, okay, but
no, I am. I'm just being stupid. No, I'm just being a dick about
it. It's nanotech.
Okay.
It can take over anything. It can do anything. It molds into anything. It can hold anything. It is everything.
All right, fine, whatever.
There we go.
I'll give him that. So yeah.
But Hulk tries it on first, doesn't it?
Professor Hulk does the snap, brings everything back, and they immediately get shot by Thanos.
But no. We haven't explained how that happens.
Oh yeah, because
we don't know.
No, we did. We already did.
Did we? We didn't talk about Thanos finding out about Nebula being on.
We did mention it.
Okay.
I mean, okay. If we'll go back and rewind. Oh yeah, because the Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Because of Nebula's Bluetooth or whatever,
Thanos basically finds out that they have this plan.
The whole plan and everything like that. And evil Nebula takes current Nebula's place because all she does is replace a plate in her head and blah blah blah. But though I will say, when they found out about the plan, I was like, shit.
How is this going to play? There is one thing which I actually saw online. Pym particles and stuff. How did they manage to get the whole ship through?
Pym particles, we just know that they make stuff smaller, right? We know that in Hank's words, they compress the atoms closer together and things like that. But I don't think that even Hank understands fully how Pym particles. I think he just discovered them. I don't think he can explain everything about them, because how does he explain a tank being shrunk down, but being able to fit not only in his pocket, but
not be really, really heavy.
Still be the same weight as a tank. And it's never really, they never really explain Pym particles limits as far as like how many Pym particles do you need?
Does it take to change a light bulb?
I hate you. You look so pleased with yourself right now. Your little muttly laugh. I was saying, how many Pym particles do you need to shrink a human compared to how many Pym particles do you need to shrink down a tank? Yeah. Do you need the same amount? Doesn't matter how many you need or what.
But this is time travel we're talking about. So, because Thanos is coming from the past to the future.
No, if you remember, Nebula uses. Oh yeah, shit. Didn't really. I don't care.
No, I don't care either. But
I just thought it was super cool seeing Thanos' shit shrunk down, like, and just coming out of the. I thought that was so cool. I would never have thought of that.
Yeah.
I would have just had Thanos come out on his own, and I would not have had him come out with his full army in his big ass ship.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and then he shoots the hell out of Avengers compound.
Oh.
And it feels very much like this is the end of that chapter for the Avengers.
Yeah.
When the Avengers come back together, there's going to be a new compound or a new Avengers Tower, a new whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the biggest throwdown in comic book movie history. And that's what I was talking about. This is the point where there was like just a bunch of shit I'd seen in comics that I never thought I was going to see in a film ever. Like, not even just one thing.
No,
like,
so
many things I never thought I'd ever get to. This was like, I felt 12 again. I felt like a 12-year-old again watching this bit. I was just...
I mean, this is a fantastic ending. The way it flows, the way it's structured, and how each character is used. I mean, you've got Hawkeye beating the turn.
Oh, the Chitauri. Is it the Chitauri or is it those weird dog things from the last movie?
I don't know. It feels like Chitauri.
After the 2012 battle, was that it for the Chitauri?
No, because you see them.
Yeah, because I've not seen them. They weren't in Infinity War.
No.
And I don't remember seeing them.
You see them flying.
I see the weird dog people from Infinity War, from the Battle of Wakanda, but I don't remember actually seeing the Chitauri.
The Chitauri were up with the ship.
I remember the behemoths.
Yeah.
I remember the behemoths flying around, and who takes down a behemoth? Like smacks a behemoth? I know Scarlet Witch.
Was it Falcon?
No,
what did Falcon do? Falcon did that.
It was like that fiend thing from Mass Effect. Yeah. He just flies into it and stabs it with his wings. But I'm pretty sure someone smacks down. I mean, I know Scarlet Witch smacks down a couple with her magic, but one of them just goes in for like a super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But we got some beautiful shots in this. Like there are two in particular, but there's one I want like as a poster or as a screen or as my desktop or whatever. But it's when Cap is standing on that mound and you've got all of Thanos' army.
Oh yes,
there, and it's just gorgeous.
Yeah. And you do feel the gravity of how you can see on Cap's face is like, how are we going to do this?
Oh yeah, but there's this kind of like there's that sort of until my last breath sort of look on his face.
Yeah.
Then he gets like Sam in his ear, like, Cap, can you hear me? And on your left, and suddenly like T'Challa and Shuri and Okoye come out, and you see and everyone starts.
You see all the circles made by Strange
and like other sorcerers and things like, and just all these portals opening, and everyone just pours out, and suddenly there's army versus army, and I was like, my mind was just like shit. No, before that there was something else. Before that, Thanos was beating the shit out of Thor. And he's reaching for his...
Oh, yes.
And you see Mjolnir lift, and then it comes flying at Thanos. And you think it's coming back to Thor, but then it comes back and Cap's holding it.
We cheered.
And Thor, Thor's is like, I knew it.
The whole theatre went, whoa! It was such a shocking but freaking awesome moment.
It was so satisfying. That was one of the scenes I was like, I never thought I'd get to see that on screen.
And then it just becomes his.
Yeah, I love it as well. That bit as well. Where
you can have the small one.
You can have the small one. Yeah, I'll keep this one. And we get the A-Force moment. I got irritated with you with that, but it was like, it's A-Force! It's A-Force! It's A-Force!
Yeah, sorry, I got, to see
it. Yeah, I get it.
But to see it
because we got
visually.
Because I remember, do you remember when we were watching Infinity War?
Yeah.
And there's that bit in the trench in Wakanda where you've got Scarlet Witch, Black Widow,
and Okoye.
And Okoye. I was like, man, we've got to get an A-Force movie now. I hope that's not the closest we ever get to an A-Force movie.
I mean, you got Valkyrie on...
Who was it? It was Valkyrie, Okoye, Scarlet Witch, Rescue.
Yes.
Bloody Rescue. I love how Potts was just like, I got this. I know how to use these things. I did it once in Iron Man 3. I know how to do this.
I love that she was involved in this. I absolutely love that.
So we got Rescue, Okoye, Scarlet Witch, no Black Widow this time.
No, but Shuri,
Carol Danvers, Valkyrie.
There were so many. I can't remember who else.
There was a good.
It's a good.
Yeah, there was a good number.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and they just kicked ass together.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved all these little pockets of teamwork going on, and also Spidey instant kill mode.
Yes, instant kill mode. It's like because you know what he's about. He doesn't want to kill.
Why would I even have that? That's why you would have it. That's why Tony put it in your suit. He knew what was out there. He didn't know if you'd ever need it or not.
And then you got Tony. And you've got and it's Strange, and Tony directly asked Strange, is this the one we win? And it's like, if I tell you, it won't happen. I can't tell you.
Which makes sense.
But he points up.
Yeah, he says there's that bit where everything seems homeless. Homeless? There's that bit where everything seems hopeless.
Yeah.
And he points up like that, and it's like, is it like, this is the one, or... Look up, because that's when Danvers turns up
and gets rid of Thanos' shit.
I love that bit where Thanos headbutt. I love that bit where Thanos headbutts her and she doesn't even budge. She doesn't even react. It's like, ow. And he literally has to rip the Power Stone out of the gauntlet just to hit her
punch
with
her. And again, with Thanos, they did all that teamwork, like wrapped around. You've got Spidey, you've got and they're all trying to go after.
By the end of it, it was basically as well
because it wasn't a gauntlet, wasn't it?
And there's that bit there's that bit in the first Avengers movie where Thor hits Stark with all the lightning and juices up his suit to like 4,000% or something like that. So now Stark actually has like a system for that. He's got the thing in his back opens up. He's like, juice me up, Thor, and Thor zaps him with the lightning and powers up all his weapons. I love I love all of those
moments.
Those details that just show like this journey that they've been on, like all the things that have happened. They stuck with the characters. And they became like part of the repertoire or part of the toolkit. And then we get to the moment. I am inevitable and clicks, but the gems are gone. And Tony's got them in his suit. Because that's the thing. He made the gauntlet out of his tech.
Yeah.
So obviously he's going to be able to take... obviously Thanos is not going to be able to control...
Stark's tech.
Yeah, Stark has his redundancies and his backdoors and things like that. That's my shit.
Yeah.
You're wearing my shit.
Yeah.
Don't think you've got the upper hand here. It's like...
And then it puts his arm up and he goes, I am Iron Man, and then snaps and gets rid of everything. Gets rid of Thanos' army.
You see Thanos' army just turn to dust.
And you see Thanos...
Still the same sound effects. Still the same crackle sound effects. It's like...
And I would have thought... You see on Thanos' face...
If I was directing it, I wouldn't have had the thunder crackle.
Oh, what would you have had?
Womp womp.
Yeah, because that's you.
And every time one of Thanos' people was like, womp womp.
What was his name? What was Thanos' right-hand man?
More.
When he walks up towards Thanos and he just crumbles. Oh, yeah, mate.
They tried to redo the Peter Parker, Tony Stark moment. It's like, for him, I would have gone, wah, 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 wah. And with Thanos disappearing, ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. And then Tony dies.
Yeah. But you had that moment with Tony and
I forgot to say
Peter.
Yeah, and when the first time he sees Peter, when Peter comes out of the portal, and he's like, "You remember when I turned to dust?" He's like, "Of course I remember when you turned to dust." He's like, "And I saw Doctor Strange, and he told me in 5 years," and he just hugs him. Mm-hmm. You know, and that was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
And then Tony's dead.
Tony's dead, and then we had the funeral.
He gets a Viking funeral.
He does.
But they put the thing there, proof that Tony Stark has a heart. Like, such a sort of double meaning, you know. That little thing was the proof that but the fact that he sacrificed himself was proof that he had a heart. And I know I'm reading the obvious, but yeah, I have to say it out loud. And he gets this very quiet. You'd think, I mean, that's not really in the style of Tony Stark to have like this intimate, humble funeral. You'd think he'd have like this big old military procession. Like, he'd want the whole world. He'd want Superman style funeral, wouldn't he?
No, I think old Tony would. I don't think this Tony would.
Oh, okay.
I think this Tony is satisfied with the people around him, and you know, he's grown. He doesn't need that adulation anymore.
Yeah, and then Steve goes back to take all the time stones, and he doesn't come back. Yes. And I was expecting that. I was expecting it.
Yeah, I was too.
But I wasn't expecting them to look up and see Old Man Steve.
No, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, that's true. I wasn't expecting to see Old Man Steve, but
I was expecting them to see, like, I don't know, a carving in a tree or something, or a note. There was something hidden in the tree, but you know, they see him sitting there. And how did he sneak in?
I don't know.
How did he sneak in? Because it's not like he disappeared in time and then the old man would have just appeared. That old man had to sneak in before they sent. You know, he's probably been there all morning and no one knows. This is it, man. People just ignore old people. Yeah.
It's great how Bucky recognised him straight away.
How?
Because of the haircut. If you remember the haircut from Captain America.
From all ever.
Yeah, forever. From Captain America, that haircut. He had the same haircut.
I like when he handed the shield on to Sam. Sam looked at Bucky and Bucky kind of... Because he's like, is this cool? You know,
he didn't want to step on anybody's toes. He wanted to make sure.
As much as they hate each other, they still respect each other.
I don't think they hate each other
anymore.
If
you were in Civil War, you couldn't have done that before. I hate you. Can you move your seat forward? No. And so we have Captain America. We have Sam Wilson, Captain America now.
I'm looking forward to that, actually.
And he got to live his life with Peggy. But the thing is, right, while he's living his life with Peggy...
He's frozen in the ice.
Yeah, he's still frozen in the ice. I wonder how often he would think about that. He's just sitting there, like, laying there in bed with Peggy, like, with the love of his life. He's like, right now, I am still frozen. You know, I'm still...
Wouldn't you be tempted to kind of wake yourself up?
Yeah. Or to let Howard know.
Yeah.
This is it as well. Did he maintain his friendship with Howard? He went back to Peggy. Did he reconnect with Howard? Because he and Howard were friends.
Yeah.
And would that have changed any part of Tony's upbringing? Because Tony grew up in Steve's shadow.
Yeah.
But Steve was, as far as anybody knew, dead. But now Steve in Howard's life, and therefore Tony's life, and is he still in Tony's shadow? There's a time that him living with Peggy kind of creates a time paradox.
Yeah, so it's another one.
Yeah, so this film does have a few time paradoxes, but is it that thing of, like, whenever you change something in time, there is the original timeline and then there's a branching timeline, and now he's living in a branching timeline? No, he couldn't be, because he ends up at the end of the film.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Time paradoxes. Or maybe that's the MCU's kind of get out. Like, if they want to do more Captain America stories, they could go back to, like, the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, that's true.
And him doing, like, these covert kind of story. Cap, we need you back.
But why wouldn't he wake himself up after all that time? Or
because he needs to wake up in 2011.
Yeah.
And there was no post-credit scene.
No.
But from what we've heard, it ends with the clanging of metal on an anvil. And I'm wondering is that them just kind of like going like this? That's where it all started. Like, remember this is where it all started. Building a suit in a cave with a box of scraps, or is it that there's going to be another Iron character like Ironheart or whatever? I think it's more just a poetic.
I think it's just a poet. Yeah, I agree with you.
I don't think it's hinting to the future. I think it's more just kind of like paying, paying respect to where it all started. Mm-hmm. I can honestly say I've never seen a film like this.
Oh God, no.
I've seen comic book movies. I've seen war movies. I've seen sci-fi. I've never seen a movie on this scale.
No.
And it just
they have pulled off this saga.
Yeah. And they've raised the bar.
Yeah, for any kind of movie.
I do worry that the film industry is going to take the wrong lesson from this and just make everything just bigger and bigger and not... And, because the Russos raised the bar...
What works in this movie is the storytelling.
Yeah, the story, the characters.
The characters, the people we love.
Yeah, the reason the action works and the climax works is because the characters work.
Yeah.
I mentioned this at the time, I did get Ready Player One vibes.
Yeah, you
did. At the end when all the good guys started pouring out of the portals. But it's funny, the Russo brothers have only been doing this relatively, for like 10 years or whatever, but Spielberg's been doing it for decades and somehow they pulled it off a hell of a lot better than Spielberg. Their big CGI climax was a hell of a lot more cohesive than Spielberg's in Ready Player One.
Yeah.
And I think it helped that I gave a shit about the vast majority of the characters on the screen.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't really like Ready Player One anyway.
No.
So
No, I didn't.
You didn't like the way they executed it or anything. So
I didn't like anything about it.
That's what I'm saying. You
Not
didn't like
a
anything.
single thing about that movie.
I had fun with it.
Yeah, I know. But I loved pretty much almost every single thing about Endgame.
Mm. I mean, every time we say it, every time you and I talk about this movie, and I know we've only watched it yesterday, but we have spoken about it a lot.
A lot.
And the one thing that comes out of my mouth is that it's such a satisfying ending. And, it brings closure to so many different things.
And we were so nervous going in because we were like, what if they don't pull it off?
Mm.
What if it just feels flat or whatever? And I just feel like they just did... Bar one thing, I think they did everything right.
Yeah.
I don't think, for a few days before we went to see it, I just spent a lot of time just trying to think, like, how would you end this?
Yeah.
How would you even write that? It's just nuts. But yeah, I really want to see it again.
I really want to say it, yeah, as soon as we can.
Yeah. So we've got no homework this weekend.
No homework this weekend.
Because we're still prepping for next week's episode where... We're hanging out with Jael and Lindsay.
Oh no, isn't it 2 weeks now? Looking forward to that one.
Yeah. So no homework this week. We'll just keep prepping, and your cough is really starting to build now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do a lot of cough editing for this. So, and we've recorded over 2 hours. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of editing out coughs.
Coughs.
So I think we'll probably...
baby cough.
Yeah, so we'll probably get to about, like...
An hour and a half.
I was going to say 15 minutes, but...
Not with you talking.
I'm going to cut me out.
Oh,
I'm just going to have your reaction.
You're going to have my reaction.
Yeah, just your
Telling
reaction.
you the story about everything.
Yeah. I'm just going to have your reactions. And your and your laugh. It's going to be a podcast of you. Everyone's going to think, like, who is this crazy woman reacting to? What's so funny that... Anyways, I can feel my cough building.
Oh dear.
It's the air in this room. If you want to catch me on Twitter, you can find me at FrenchieBalls.
And me at Amara_secrets.
We'll leave links below for Amazon affiliates and Patreon and all that stuff. We're rebuilding the Patreon. We're going to keep it simple now.
Yeah.
We need to launch it before a certain date because Patreon are changing all of their rules and stuff like that. And if we don't launch it before then, it's going to be a weird version of Patreon for us, so we're going to get that sorted soon. So until the next episode, it's goodbye from her.
And it's goodbye from him.
When did we become the two Ronnies?